horrible shit about Mamdani and then said nice shit about him. You know what I mean? Like he's very swayable on these sorts of opinions about people and how he's gonna fucking lambaste them or praise them. He uses these types of communications to manipulate. He's a salesman. You know what I mean? I respect that guy Joe Kent for resigning because he didn't agree with the Iran war. Yeah, I don't know anything about that guy to be able to put respect on him or not. I saw what he said. And that seems to be a high level of integrity. You know what I mean? But I also don't care that he resigned, so I didn't really look too far into it. Like, I don't know who that guy was. And I hesitate to elevate somebody's importance just because the media insists on their importance. You know, the media is not your friend kind of thing. In fact, the media is your enemy. But I would absolutely prefer to see us get out of Iran before the summertime, because as much as I don't agree with the Iran war, I don't like anything about the Democrats. Nothing. I think that they need to reinvent themselves to be something that is palatable to average Americans again. They're just fucking stranded in Looneyville, you know? And the only way that they're going to get elected is if he throws the election, you know, which entangling yourself in a war in the desert is throwing the election. I had seen interviews with him prior to him working in Trump's admin. He was a special forces guy who served in many counter-terrorism operations. I saw his statement, and he did say that he was in the Iraq war. I didn't know that he was special forces or counter-terrorism. I didn't know that. I saw that his statement said when he realized the truth of why we were in Iraq, and it was just a fucking money scam for defense contractors and PMCs, that he said, should he ever be in a position to do something about it, he would do something about it. And that is what compelled him to resign over the Iran war. That is a respectful disposition. His wife was also in the army and was killed in Afghanistan, I think. Yeah, see, that's fucked up. You know what I mean? Think about how horrible that is. That's why I don't like any wars. You know? As a general rule, I don't like war. You know? I think the war in Iran is going to be... If we're still there in the summertime, the Democrats are going to run with that for the midterms. You can't expect any of these career politicians with no backbone to stand down because of their conscience, though. So my thing is, I think politicians are reflective of the society that elects them. And we are a society that is we're just electing bad people because it's in fashion to... It's not in fashion, I should say, to be a good, strong, moral person. That is not in fashion. The concept of morality is politicized and fucking propagandized and stuff like this. While I get what you're saying, you can't expect any of these politicians with no backbone. Like, yeah, you're right. I think the deeper problem is we as a culture need to hold a higher moral standard for ourselves and our communities. And then in that instance, we'll start to get a reflection of that in our politicians. I agree somewhat, but politicians also lie to get in, then flip on what they promised. Yes, they do. And sometimes they don't mean to. Sometimes they don't mean to. I ran for an office, a local office in my community. I wanted to lower the dues in my HOA. When I got elected and I saw how fucked up the last administration, so to speak, had run the finances, we would have went bankrupt within 2 years if I had acted on my plan. So I just came to my neighbors and I laid it out. I was like, hey, listen, this is what we're looking at. So what do you guys want to do? Because I said I'd want to lower the dues because the dues are too high. But you see what these idiots have done with our expenditures and how no money's in the bank. So what end goal do you want? And I didn't lose any respect because it wasn't seen as a lie. It was just seen as having incomplete information. I was not privy to how deep the how dire the straits were. You know what I mean? So then once I got this information, I'm like, oh, fucking holy shit. We can't do what I wanted to do because our pocketbook is out of control, you know? And so you kind of got to give a little grace for that too. That's not all of them, but I do kind of, you know, what did he say? What's the reality? And what are the things I don't know? You know, but yes, there are some that will just lie to you. And they do it. You can tell when they're lying. Because a lot of times you'll ask them a direct question and you get a fucking story answer that doesn't acknowledge it. So now you know what their answer is. It's the thing they didn't want to tell you. You know what I mean? So that's like not necessarily lying, but that's being dishonest. You know what I mean? And honestly, if we had a stronger, like, if our culture had a stronger morality and a higher threshold for its public servants, I think that is something that would start to go bye-byes over time. But I mean, I'm talking in the fucking ideal of being able to unify, come together over what's right, and you know, change the culture. So it's, you know, is this a pipe dream? I don't have my pipe on me, but maybe. You know, but I don't like to write it. I don't want to write things off as impossible when I see that there is a path forward, even if it's unlikely. You know, I'm just one person. It's not up to me. The only thing I can do as one person is be good and be a good example of good people succeeding, so that other people will see me and say, holy shit, I don't have to be a piece of shit scamming everybody to fucking make it in this world. I can be a decent person. That's pretty cool. That's a strong man right there. You know, I'm not, you know what I mean? But that is my hope, is to be that example in my community. You know? And once enough people start actually doing that, taking it seriously, reflecting, working on self-mastery, right? These sorts of things, then I think maybe we can start to see a change in the culture. But that's not how the culture is laid out right now. You know, and the perpetuating of victimhood mentality only serves to keep this narcissistic, me first, fuck everybody, get my bag culture. I don't see that as being productive in the long run, even if it's politically expedient in the short run. And that's why I like I said in the beginning of the show, I don't know if you were here for that. I'm an independent. I lean left. Okay. I don't fuck with these Democrats. They're stupid. Either they're stupid or they think I'm stupid. And either way, I just don't fuck with that. You know what I mean? I don't like it. 10 years ago, 11, 12 years ago, they were talking about quality of life improvements. That's not what they're talking about now. You know what I mean? They're just railing against Trump and insisting that Trump supporters are all racist, white supremacist, bigots, hateful, this and that. And that's just has not been what I have found to be true. You know what I mean? And I don't find that as being particularly productive unless the ends justify the means. And I don't believe the ends justify the means. I think the means are very fucking important when you get to those ends. You know what I mean? I'm an independent who leans right, but the right in Canada isn't the same as the right in the US nowadays. What is the right in Canada like? And what are your perceived differences here between what you guys got going on and what we have here for a right wing? because I'm curious. I'm super interested to know what the politics are like in other places. Like, that's very interesting to me because it helps contextualize the world, you know? The leader of the Conservative Party isn't trying to ban abortion or anything, despite the fear-mongering from the left. Is the Conservative Party pro-choice, or is that just an issue they're not contesting? He's not against abortion. Okay. All right, so he's kind of a moderate right-winger. I believe he was adopted, so he says he's in favor of that. Okay. Well, I guess does he have plans to make adoption cheaper and more accessible, affordable, improve the lives of the unadopted before they get adopted? I guess he's got plans in that vein. This is important because your personal experience will highlight to you things that need to be fixed, you know? So I can understand that. So they say he's against gay marriage because he voted to not use the word marriage for same-sex unions in the early 2000s, but still wanted them to have all of the same rights as a hetero married couple. But people will say because of that, he voted against gay marriage. I see. Yeah, I see. It's really a shame to see the effects of the large-scale propaganda on what I call casuals, not as a slur. Most people are fucking busy trying to make their life to pay close enough attention to this shit. You know what I mean? And to just be taken advantage of and sold out by the media and their representatives because they know that the cat is away so the mouse can play kind of thing is just reprehensible to me. You know what I mean? I hate that shit. You know? Don't misrepresent something. You know? If you believe in your opinion, why would you have to misrepresent the other opinion? You know what I mean? But that's the political game they play now. You know what I mean? This is fear of the other. This is out of the early 2000s Republican American playbook. And probably before then, too. I'm just, you know. He was going to win. Then when Trump imposed the tariffs and the new liberal guy won, because he said he would stand up to Trump, then he didn't do shit. Yeah. That's fucked up. How did liberals believe that a liberal was going to stand up to Trump? Are they not watching? I don't know. I mean, as a hope and a prayer, I guess, the Hope and Prayer Foundation. But that's strange. So are you saying that the Canadian right comes across as more moderate or maybe even slightly left of center on some things than how the American right comes off? He was going to win, then Trump imposed. So fucking Trump delivered Carney, huh? Oh, God. We were about to have conservative government. Trudeau stepped down. Then this new guy stepped in and told boomers, don't worry, I'll protect the value of your homes and retirement. So they all voted for him. Yeah. Hey, look. We all fell for that shit over here. Well, I don't know, because now there's a lot of proof that the election in 2020 did have fraudulent ballots for Biden, but you know, we were doing the same. we had a similar thing over here where in 2020 Bernie Sanders was streaking on the left side, right? Because they were all a bunch of dildos, so it was easy for him to just fucking walk circles around them. They had